Hello ladies and gentlemen, it is hump day again, the wonderful Wednesday. We are back in Yosemite Valley today with another great build that is the orangutan habitat in our dome. So it is the last addition to the dome. However, it's not going to be the last dome episode. Simply because I just could not fit that much in. First of all, it is my koala beach this week again, because Mike is basically out for the whole month of May due to his real life job, and it's very fortunate that I could take over this week, because I will also be pretty much back to normal from next week on. So for those of you who don't know, but in Germany, like everything is opening up again, like everything, and from next week on, I will also go back to the agency, it seems, or maybe at latest in 2 weeks' time. And so that means my surplus of time due to not being on the road and due to having some of the lunch breaks to do stuff are gone, and therefore the content is also going to be unfortunately a little bit less than it has been recently. But I think, you know, there was so much content out there. There's still a lot for you guys to watch. It shouldn't be that dramatic. And also, I really think that, you know, it's also good to focus again on real life stuff for a bit. Well, actually, it is all real life, but you know what I mean. The normal life stuff, the everyday stuff, you know, the boring things. But yeah, I'm very happy. I took the time also, and I will take even more time when I have some holidays left, because obviously that's one of the things this year which will be different. Holidays will be spent at home, and I will take this time, that is something I can tell already before we talk about today's episode, to really improve my overall settings even more, to make sure that I really can deliver better content on a quicker range, or like quicker than usually, just by having a bit of a better template situation in terms of my Premiere Pro and all the stuff in here. So I really optimized everything I could already, but there are a few things I need to do, and these things take time. And usually I don't have this time because it's always a matter of hours, of many hours, to improve this all and then save some time in the future. But these hours need to be spent first of all. And I haven't had them, but now I will take them when I have some holidays, and in the end this will hopefully pay out and make this even better for me, for you, for everyone. So that's gonna be something I'm gonna planning for my holidays. However, now let's talk about today's episode. We are going to build a very crazy arboreal orangutan habitat, and let me tell you, this is maybe even a step further from the capuchin monkey habitat. Oh my god, what was that weird pronunciation here? This is going to be absolutely freaking insane, and let me tell you, it's not finished entirely. Like, there will be a huge change towards the end of the episode where you will see the real-time part. There is like mainly, I think, double the amount of work went into it without even recording it. So the time lapse is basically just here to show you the initial progress, and then you will see the big boom at the end of the episode. So there's already a little hint to stay with me, because it's going to be very, very, very exciting. I love this project. I love it a lot, because this is kind of summing up everything in this dome over here we learned over the past couple of weeks in my tutorial. And again, I can only stress again, for those of you who haven't seen this one, I made a huge tutorial about the traversable area, giving you all the insights I learned over the past couple of weeks, making these habitats, making sure that you guys improve your habitat skills by a mile, in order how to make things traversable, in order how to make animals go to certain locations you want them to go, and also to make sure that the animations of climbing and stuff are as perfect as possible, because I found a way to make sure that you can get rid of all the glitches and the weird moonwalking animations, because there is a certain way of doing it, and this is very helpful. So I'm going to link let me just quickly check the time code. Okay, it's 4 minutes and 20. I'm going to link to the top right now my tutorial. This is where you guys will be able to see all of this. But beware, it's over an hour of content, so make sure to take yourself some drink and stuff and sit down and enjoy. I think it's 52 minutes exactly, I guess, but I'm not sure. It's not over an hour, but it's nearly an hour. Anyways, you can see that I'm preparing now already another section of the habitat, because now let me talk about this idea a bit more. So this last of the 3 domes is also the lowest one. And in the other two domes, we have the pygmy hippo, and in the middle one, we have the Nile monitor and the capuchin monkey. And I wanted to have one of the bigger animals that are tropical in here as well, because for all the other ones, I have some ideas, but this one in particular needs a very, very hot or warm environment, the orangutan. And I asked you guys, and this was maybe the one animal that has been named the most to be in here. So I definitely wanted to ensure that this is really having a dedicated area in here, and so I decided to hand it the whole dome. The problem with the orangutans though is that it's basically impossible to make a walk-through habitat in the normal way with like guest gates, because guests would be fleeing. So what you need to do is you need to create a habitat where the animals don't really have the chance to go onto the pathway. And at the same time, this dome is not as big as you could easily do this. So what I needed to create is a very layered habitat that goes across the pathway multiple times, has some arboreal areas, and has some very nice climbing that is also supported by some security nettings and stuff. So just to make sure that the people can still see it and explore this area, but at the same time, the animals cannot get down to the ground. And I succeeded doing this, even though obviously from like the game requirements, the animals have like way too less space. But again, the climbable area is again like multiple times higher than most of the other stuff. So in fact, in total, if you would calculate it and collect this together, it's definitely enough space for them, and it's just the way the game calculates the space that it's not enough. But I think it's rather important to point out that they would have enough space in a real life scenario, and not in terms of the game mechanics, because that's what counts for this project. It's not a franchise, so we can do whatever we want, and that's cool. So yeah, I also wanted to get in with a lot of different design elements in terms of wall design. So some areas I wanted to make sure that people cannot look through. And one thing I wanted the people to do in this habitat the most is look up. Just look into the sky, I want to say, but look at the roof, or so to say, just towards the roof of this building, to make sure that you look into the actual arboreal area of the animals. And this is turning out to really work exactly the way I was planning it. And it's looking, you will see this at the end, it's looking phenomenal. It's looking really cool. You have a lot of different viewing angles that create some new experiences, and you can really see the animals. And I managed that the animals are moving around exactly like I wanted them to. So again, this is another little cool thing to note. I was somehow able to make sure that the animals use every little inch again. So it really seems that these things I found out in my tutorial, that they really prove to be exactly the way I told you guys. So that it definitely works, and this is so cool. It does work. With these little tricks, you can make them actually walk everywhere, and it's really cool. And yeah, there are a few things that are different from the tips I gave you, mainly because of the layered thing here, the layered habitat. So mainly I couldn't put water and food next to each other, simply because the staff members cannot traverse everywhere. This will be also something I'm talking about in the real life part a bit more. It's very cramped. It's a very, very, very cramped habitat, but it's still looking it's still looking fairly spacious, even though it's very cramped. And therefore I also needed to create a custom tree in the middle. So that one you saw going in here will not remain. It's gonna be deleted and exchanged by an in-game custom tree design I made, which took me hours. And you can also tell from the time-lapse already, we are getting into the problem that the camera movement is starting to be very annoying. And this is the main reason why I stopped recording at some point, because I was glitching so much into the walls and into different things that I figured it's gonna be very, very, very annoying to watch. You can see this already now, like moving the camera around is going to be a bit more tricky than I expected it to be. And to be honest, when I was rewatching some of the footage, I was like, nah, I'm just gonna scrap it here. That's too much. That's too annoying. It's too confusing. And people were already complaining about my tours sometimes that I'm moving too much. And this was nothing in comparison to this over here. So I was like, nope. By the way, one last info before I'm going to shut up for a few minutes and then we see each other again in the real-time part. For you guys, gorillas and orangutans, despite the common belief, cannot use the ropes to climb, even though the game shows them to have a climbable area over there, it's not working. They cannot use the ropes. They seem to be too heavy, I guess. And this is also why most of the times I was so confused that my habitat does not work. Like I spent hours in my live stream to figure out why the hell they cannot work out how to get there, but they seem to not be able to use the ropes at all. And therefore I needed to exchange everything with the normal climbing rigs, which fortunately do work, and also yeah, it looks still okay. That's the main output here. But anyhow, guys, this is it. I will now shut up for like 2-ish minutes and leave you alone with the rest of the time lapse, and then we see each other at the real-time part, which I highly suggest to watch because it's absolutely cool, and I'm really proud again of what we've done here. Really cool, and again, also thanks to your feedback in the live stream. I cannot stress that enough. It's always very helpful to have you around. And yeah, I see you in the real-time part. Alright guys, here we go, and for this episode I have really upped the volume. First of all, we are still standing here at the Nile monitor habitat. You can see those two guys just running high into their shelter, but you can already hear it in the background. Well, actually at the moment you can't, but I'm just gonna turn around. Here we go. Now this is already the new reworked habitat for the orangutans now from the ground level. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? One of the enrichment items has been kicked over. But there you go. Look at that. There is one of the orangutans just taking its road to the other side. And as you can see, what I was already talking about, the animation is really working absolutely fine. There's no side of glitch or whatever. You will see now, hopefully it does me the favor, or does do the favor, that it does take it now nice and tidy. Look at that. This is so cool. It looks so good. So no problem at all. They don't glitch, they don't do anything. Yeah, it changed quite a lot about the habitat. You can see that on this right hand side there is a fence now. It's very overgrown. We have the water in between to make sure that the animals cannot get here. So it's quite secure. I also put a lot more foliage to the back, so to make sure that this staircase is nicely hidden away. We have also, and if we go for, I love the sound design is so good. I really tried to make it as loud as possible so you guys can hear it. I'm just gonna shut up for a moment, just listen. So there you go. It really, I think it sounds so good. It sounds so good because it really is like, I don't know if you guys have ever been into orangutan habitat, but it sounds so familiar. And these animals do actually make some sounds, even though some animals don't usually, but yeah. So this area over here is now a bit more interesting because you haven't seen anything of that in the time lapse. Now, I really tried to make sure that we have different areas that you're gonna travel through. And this is now a little bit of a narrow road where you can see there is some designing going on. You can still try to go for the animals and look up into it. And then to the right hand side you go up to the jaguar viewing, and I'm gonna take this road now slowly with you, mainly to show you what is happening. Oh, I heard this is weird. If you go slow in the Tejet cam, you have this little weird glitch going on. I don't know what it is. So on the left hand side you have, it's not all done, I do need to do some detailing here, but this is the view into the jaguar habitat. As you can see, there's no one over here, but this is one of the inside views where you potentially can catch them lying in the back on this thing. But if you rotate, you have another wonderful view, and you are now at eye level with the higher level of the orangutan. So that's kind of cool. So it really is valuable to go up high here, not only because of the jaguars, but also because of the orangutans. You can get really the peek through here of the animals in this arboreal area, and I really like that they are spending most of the time up there. It's really cool. I'm really enjoying the view quite a bit over here because yeah, it's just very, I think it's really giving you the feel of discover, and I think this is really cool. So we have this thing over here. It's kind of a nicely overgrown support structure for this arboreal area here. You potentially could catch them sitting there as well, but yeah. And if we go down, like, there's not that much done. I'm just going to show you some of the other stuff here. Yeah, there's still stuff I need to fix, a few things here and there. Also, these supports over here are very much under supported. I need to do some stuff about this. We're just going to show you some cool elements. For example, this supported log thing over here. So this is something where the animals can also traverse over here, and I'm still thinking about doing some netting that goes below these things, because obviously that would be kind of dangerous if there isn't any netting going on. But netting always has the problem that it's climbable, and I need to do some stuff around this. But yeah, you can see I used some iron pieces here to make sure that these are non-climbable, and the animals can still traverse through here to go to this arboreal area, and that's kind of cool. And also one of the things I wanted to quickly show you, therefore I need to just go all the way back because maybe we have missed out on it. Yeah, on the left hand side we have a little bit of a backstage access. You can see that through the glass and stuff it's mostly hidden away, but I was like figuring that, you know, the keepers need to get here, even though in terms of the game they unfortunately cannot get there. But in terms of real life scenario, there is a ladder here where you could get up, and then there is like an entrance possible to get into the habitat for the keeper. We still need to make sure that we make a little bit of a connection here and kind of make sure that there's like a gate or whatever that transfers you into the next area. But now it's time to get out of Gadget Cam and show you around in the habitat. Now let me also make my mouse a bit quicker again. Right, there you go. So this is how this whole area looks from above, and as I said, I'm a huge fan of how this turned out, because you really can see how the animals are spending really most of the time in this upper area, because everything they need is basically in here. The only reason to get back is this is the feeding station. It's hidden in here, so as soon as they get some food, it's gonna be delivered to this area. Sometimes the keepers just throw it down here in the back, and again, this is also not done yet. You can see some of the animals are also down here, but most of them are moving around, and they also go to this space over here. They do. They also sometimes, oh yeah, well, there is someone coming. You can say, oh wait. Yeah, well, no, for testing reasons, it's just like, okay, no, I'm not going to show you. But yeah, they also do go here, play some piano, and it's really cool. It's actually working pretty well, and I think it's also looking really cool. It's looking really cool. This is like really I think the final execution of all my testing I did in the past couple of weeks, even though the custom tree was a pain to build, but it's built in a way that the animals can climb through it. As you can see, there are some connections between where they can pass through, and most of the other climbable stuff I actually excluded by putting the planters down here, so they cannot get to this tree, because mostly this is where the animals glitch the most in these trees, because yeah, it's very finicky and it creates all of these triangles you don't want to have, and so that's why I made sure that you don't have this. But yeah, I think really using it to our favor makes this whole thing so much more enjoyable, because the animal take full advantage of the habitat and yeah, just enjoy the area. These dudes over here, they've been standing to the sprinkler like half an hour. They love the sprinkler. I just don't know what is this, but yeah. Yeah, so this is the overview. I will do some stuff again for the next episode. The next episode will be about finishing this backstage area here, including this in the middle. Also, this building is not fully done. And I'm gonna also spend some time making the exit look a bit nicer. And then, guys, we are done with the dome. So check out next episode for the finishing, and then we make like a full tour of the dome again once it's done finally. And then afterwards, I'm gonna put in a little voting that you guys need to fill in which animal is going next. And we only actually, you can already start putting down your info, but there is like a tight race between the elephant and the grizzly bear. So elephant would be very interesting by building a very dedicated elephant house which fits to Yosemite and also make some realistic outdoor area. And the other stuff would be the grizzly reintroduction program, which would kind of reintroduce them into the wild here. So two very interesting projects that might take up a few more than one episodes. But yeah, so it's gonna be very exciting. And yeah, just have a last peek into the orangutan habitat. Oh my god, that looks phenomenal. I am a huge fan of this habitat now. I think potentially this even already took the crown from the capuchin monkey habitat. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, it has some good potential to be there. I think, did you put some food down here somewhere? Because why are they all running down? I'm not even sure why though, but yeah. Anyways, guys, I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. I certainly did, and I hope you guys are having a great week. And I talk to you in the next episode. Stay cool, stay tight, and stay safe, obviously. And then we are going to see each other soon again. Until then, goodbye.